This is Berlin, the German capital. Berlin is a city in central Western Europe, home to about 3.5 million people. The capital of the Federal Republic of Germany, it is the largest city in what is generally considered Central Europe, and therefore Germany, 5th largest by city proper in Europe, and 1st largest in the EU. Again, if you only count the city proper to make Paris and Madrid seem artificially smaller. Berlin is a city famously full of life and full of all sorts of different people, and that has most certainly seen its fair share of history. And it also happens to be where I currently live, or at least one of the two cities I bounce between, so I thought I'd take the time to briefly explain at least one of the cities that I live in. First off, Berlin resembles cities like New York, London, and Paris in that it is divided into boroughs, or Bezirke. The 12 boroughs are Charlottenburg-Wilmersdorf, home to Kurfürstendamm and the Zoologische Garten, where you have the regular jungle right next to the concrete jungle, Friedrichshain-Kreuzberg, basically the Brooklyn of Berlin, Lichtenberg, home to the East Berlin Zoo and the old Stasi prison, Marzahn-Hellersdorf, Mitte, the city center of Berlin, as hinted to by its name and location in der Mitte of Berlin, Neukölln, nowadays a very diverse part of Berlin, Pankow, which you'll have heard of if you're riding a public transit, Reinickendorf, home to a lake named Tegel and a soon-to-close airport also named Tegel, Spandau, the borough that was most obviously its own city in the past, Steglitz-Zehlendorf, featuring Wannsee and the Free University of Berlin, Tempelhof-Schöneberg, home to an airport that's now a park, and Treptow-Köpenick, which you'll probably only really see passing through on your way to Schönefeld Airport or the future Brandenburg Airport, but more on that in a bit. Or, actually, let's talk about transport right now. Getting into Berlin, Berlin has 2 small active airports, one big airport that's about to open to replace them any century now, one that's already closed, and a bunch of little airfields that no one cares about. Being in Germany, Berlin also has great rail links with the rest of Europe, with high-speed trains with direct connections to major cities like Zeuthen and Cottbus and Verneuchen. Oh, and also Prague and Warsaw and Amsterdam, but no one cares about those. These trains generally stop in the futuristic Hauptbahnhof in Moabit. Try not to get lost in there. Though they can also stop at several other stations around the city, so take a look at your ticket and plan accordingly. Berlin also has great public transit within. Indeed, from a North American perspective, it's absolutely amazing because it's real. Berlin, like other major German cities, kind of has 2 metro systems interlinked on top of each other. The Untergrund, or U-Bahn, and the Stadtschnell, or S-Bahn. The U-Bahn is more of a traditional metro that never leaves the city limits, while the S-Bahn is a bit more like a commuter rail system that also goes outside the city, though don't confuse it with regional trains. Berlin also of course has buses, including double-decker buses, as well as trams, but only in the east. And all these systems are run by the BVG, except the S-Bahn, which is run by Deutsche Bahn. Also, you have to buy a paper ticket at the station, and be sure to show it whenever a plainclothes fare inspector says, "Fahrkarten bitte." Or maybe more likely, "Hallo Leute, guten Tag, gute Fahrkarte bitte." Oh, and if there's no date on the ticket, remember to stamp it. This is very important. An unstamped ticket is basically no ticket. Berlin has had a ruckus history that I could easily make a whole video about, if I travel back in time about a year because I already made that video. Now, after World War II, Berlin was split between East and West Germany, which, due to Berlin's position within Germany, meant that West Berlin was entirely enclaved within East Germany, meaning that the infamous Berlin Wall actually went all around West Berlin, and was actually built by the East to keep their own citizens in, and therefore out of the little enclave. So it was kind of like a fortress, but halfway in reverse. The wall fell in 1989, however, and now Berlin is much more integrated, to the point where at times you can't even tell what side you're on, unless you're some nerd who's looked at enough maps to basically have their own subconscious GPS in their head. I must transcend geography. Berlin doesn't technically have one central downtown like most cities. I mean, I guess Mitte does mostly do the job. But due to the city's aforementioned split past, and possibly also its huge size, it kind of has 3 centers. West Berlin had Zoologische Garten and the nearby Kudamm, East Berlin had Alexanderplatz, and the high retail street and former border station of Friedrichstraße fits nicely between the two, compounded by its proximity to the government quarter Unter den Linden and Museum Island, as well as several of Berlin's most famous landmarks. Basically, if it's in Berlin and you've heard of it, it's very likely near one of these places. Landmarks including the Brandenburg Gate, Reichstag, Jewish Holocaust Memorial, Potsdamer Platz, KaDeWe, the Fernsehturm, Berliner Dom, Rotes Rathaus, or Checkpoint Charlie, which is honestly just this little booth in the middle of a busy street. Seriously though, if you only have a few days here, I'd maybe scratch this off the list for something more with your time. Get a load of these tourists with their cameras at Checkpoint Charlie. Wait. I should probably also mention that Berlin has over 100 museums, dedicated to everything from ancient history to East Germany to natural history to German-Russian relations to a now closed one on currywurst. That actually segues pretty neatly into a perhaps important discussion on typical Berlin foods. Now, Berlin is a very international city, especially with regards to the Turkish population, who make up about 5% of the city's population. And perhaps nowhere is that more obvious than in the ubiquity of the doner kebab. Berlin has largely taken its own spin on it, and doner kebab restaurants are absolutely everywhere throughout the city. Like seriously, if you can't find one here, I seek medical attention. Then we have currywurst, basically just chopped up sausages, drowned in ketchup and flaked with curry powder. Almost disgustingly simple, but delicious. Then for dessert, perhaps you can also get the infamous Berliner, or Pfannkuchen as it's also known in this part of Germany. And finally, if you want, you can also wash it down with a bottle of Berliner Kindle. Perhaps I can also take a little bit of time to introduce some of Berlin's most famous icons that you cannot eat or go inside, like the Buddy Bear, the bear from the coat of arms, and of course the East German Ampelmännchen, who you can also find in parts of the West nowadays. In short, Berlin is a city essentially in a superposition of old and modern, compact and spread out, split and unified, and poor but sexy. It is a city beaten up by history, nonetheless charging on to a better future. But as politically split as Germany was between East and West, it is also largely culturally split between North and South. So how does Berlin compare to a city like, I don't know, Munich?
Well, I just so happen to have a video about that on my channel that I happen to be uploading right now, and in that video, I actually give a shout out to this video.
Mr. Beat? Wow, it's almost as if we're collaborating right now.
I know, right?
Yeah, and that would probably explain why we're both uploading on a Saturday.
Yeah, well anyway, if you liked learning all about Berlin, come on over to my channel and learn how Berlin compares to Munich, the capital of the German state of Bavaria. And subscribe to learn something new every Sunday.
No, wait, that's my line. Thank you as always for watching. Kind of ironic I make this video right now, considering that I'm literally about to go back to Portland tomorrow. Anyways, do be sure to check out Mr. Beat's video if you haven't already, but also consider helping out this channel by giving this video a like if you liked it, share it with your family and your friends and your FBI agent, and yeah, subscribe to learn something new every Sunday.